Hello everybody, this is Drmcbrick and I am here with another Pantasy or Fantasy set. It is the vintage television set, that's right. And this is set 61008, the vintage television set. It was sent to me by Pantasy, but the comments and all of my reviews are my own. So I want to get into the build, but this has some surprises up its sleeve. So stay tuned because I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised on what this TV can actually do. All right, here it is, the vintage television set from Pantasy Brick. It is set 61008. Not sure how many bricks it has in it because it doesn't say, but I believe these bricks were sourced from Go Bricks. And the printing on it, the printing is pad printing, which is actually very, very good on the Pantasy sets, and I have to give them props for that. Now, it also comes with a doily, or a nice, we call them doilies at our house. I'm not sure you call them cloths, just basically a little print, usually a flower print on it. My mom and grandmas made these for our television sets, for our portable television sets, and we set those on them. It was kind of so it wouldn't scratch the wood at the table underneath. And so that was a kind of a tradition with a lot of vintage television sets. One of the things that Pantasy did in their manual, in their instruction manual, which I thought was really cool, was that they gave a little history about television sets in China. Now, it provided a cultural perspective, especially for me being from the United States, and for others reading it, it provides a cultural perspective. I remember my father talking about how his dad, my grandpa, who I had the privilege of knowing until he was almost 90 when he passed away, and how my grandpa got the first television set in their county, in the state of West Virginia, in the county that they were in. And people used to come for miles and miles around. And that was back, I believe, in the late 40s or early 50s. I can't remember what he said, but people used to come to their house to watch television because they're the only ones that had TV at that point. Now, Pantasy in their manual talks about the history in China and how not until the 80s, the 1980s, so 40 some years after we had TVs being real prolific here in the United States and starting out, they started to come into China. And you actually had to have a coupon, according to the manual here from Pantasy. You actually had to have a coupon to get one of these television sets. And really, really interesting. So there's some history in the Pantasy manual, and I encourage you, if you do get this model, to read that. And there's a couple pictures of just tons and tons of people just all around this little tiny set. Let me give you perspective. Here's my hand. There's the television set, right? So all these people were gathered around one of these little numbers so that they could watch something on television. And who knows what that something was. Anyway, this is the set from Pantasy. Pantasy Bricks. It's really cool. I have to admit that there are some really cool surprises in this set. You can see the handles right there. The handles offer a really nice way to pick up the set. There are adjustable antennas. Those adjust and you can move back and forth and up and down and things like that. There's some surprises hidden behind that screen. There are some really cool knobs on this set. These three knobs don't work. They're basically just knobs. You can turn them if you really want to, but they're basically just tile one buys put on a round jumper. And then, of course, we have these, which would be the ingot bricks, although they're in trans yellow and red. And then this one actually works. And I won't show you that because it'll mess things up here for a second. But it really does have some cool features about it. Now, the build itself was a lot of studs on the side construction, as you can imagine, because it's all sculpted. It was a lot of Technic type of mechanisms and stuff inside to make it work. This little handle here works and turns, and I'll show you what that's for in a minute. You can see it hinged on the bottom, and then you can see your connectors that would connect to your RGB, RCA probably type of terminals. So anyway, so that's what it looks like from the outside. Now, there's some interesting features on this. Here's one of the features. It's the screen. Now, this screen is actually, if you can see, and you probably can't see in here, but you can see how it's distorted. It's because it's a magnification screen. So whatever's on the screen there, you see, it magnifies it, right? And so that comes into play with certain types of features. So let me show you. Now, this comes with a card, and the card has the standard, it says Pantasy on it, but it also has a standard kind of test pattern. Now, this would be the test pattern that would show up on your TVs. A lot of times you would get this test pattern early in the morning before TV networks started, and late at night after TV networks were off the air. So this was kind of an off the air type of thing. Then it also gives you a very nice scene on the back that you can also put on your TV, which is a sea scene and a seascape. And that's really cool. Now, the reason it does that is because if we look inside of the build, we see, first of all, you see all this technique back here. This Technic style mechanism. This is actually kind of a scissors mechanism in a sense, and it's a mechanism that enables you to put your cell phone in there. And so by turning the back of this of the lever I showed you, you can adjust it to the size cell phone you have. You could put a cell phone in there and then put up the magnifying screen, and you would actually be able to watch your cell phone sideways, watch a movie or something like that on this little TV screen. So that's kind of cool. Now, this right here, this knob works, and this knob is to bring up the seascape. And this seascape is really, really cool. Now, you see what happened there. You see what happened down here? This is something that, yep, right there, that's a problem that I've had with this set, is that the clutch power on this particular set isn't as great, for some reason, as the clutch power on other Pantasy sets that I have got. And the Astro Boy that I just did was really, really cool and real perfect. This one is cool. I mean, in terms of, I like the idea of it popping up like this, but it is very fragile. It's very fragile to go back. It's very fragile to come forward. And if you turn it just a little more than you should, it pops off. And then sometimes the gears fall. This guy doesn't work, and everything just kind of goes to pot down there. But I'll tell you what, the seascape that they've done here in this Pantasy model is really, really cool. Look at the way they use their brushes as coral. They've used all different kinds of parts. And there's a hidden treasure chest back there. There's a shark, a crab, all kinds of cool coral that they have done there. And so I really like the way they did that. To me, building this blue piece right here with all the coral and all the seascape and stuff was really, really fun. Now you can put this back there, and it can be a, whoa, upside down. It can be a seascape, and then that's what you could use it for as a display. So you can hide all of that mechanism back there. But it goes back, and it goes back into, and you have to be real careful, because if not, it'll, yep, see, there's a piece just fell off right there. I could just hear it. It'll all fall off and fall down there. So it's not, yeah, it's a cool mechanism, but it doesn't work if you're looking, for instance, at the Lego Atari that has the thing that pops out when you open it, and it pops out and goes back in and all that kind of stuff. And you can keep doing it, and it just does it right. This one you have to be a lot more delicate with, or else it will fall apart. The mechanism could probably be done a little bit better if you ask me. Both the mechanism, the scissor mechanism back here, or this is not really even a scissor mechanism, but this mechanism back here for the cell phones, that could probably be done a little easier actually. And then this mechanism here and the space you have, because if you look, you don't have much space in between there. If it were just another brick or two, maybe 2 or 4 studs wider, thicker, longer, depth-wise, this would fit a lot better, and you would knock off a lot of different parts and things like that. So you can have that showing. It also comes with a really cool display piece here as a waterfall. You can have water coming out of it. It comes with another minifig, and their minifigs aren't really that bad, to be quite honest with you. I mean, they're printed, they're nice. You know, they're not Lego minifigs by any means, but you know what? They're not bad at all. So you could set him up here. He could be fishing, having a good old time. Let's see here. I think he needs a bucket with some chum or something in there. There we go. And so, yeah, so that makes a really nice display. And, you know, I need to put that card back there so it'll be an even better display. Let me show you how I'll open the back of it so that you can actually manipulate things in the back. Now this has a very simple mechanism to open on the back, and you can see the back's done very nicely. But all you have to do is pop this up and you pull that back like that. And that's all there is to it. So you could feasibly put this card, and let's see if I can expand it a little more. Expand it. Put this in there, and there we go. And so I was able to put the model back in, or put the card back in there as a nice seascape. You see the waterfall, and the waterfall is really cool. And it's just basically a bunch of trans light blue, trans dark blue, and trans clear with some fish going up. If you want to make it like salmon, you can make the fish pointed upwards, you know, swimming uphill, that sort of thing, trying to get up there, that sort of thing. There is a jumper that this sits on, and levels off and things like that. And so, yeah, so it really kind of is a cool display piece in a sense. And I really like it. I'm not a fan of the Technic pieces there that are not hidden. Maybe if those were covered up with a particular you know, tiles or something like that might be better. But anyway, I like that. Put the screen back on and the test pattern, and it's back to being a regular TV. So, yes, the Pantasy Vintage Television Set 61008 is a cool little set. It's a nice little set. It retails, I believe, for $99 US. To be honest with you, I think it's really more of a $59.99 type of set. You know, in terms of the what you get for it, the amount you get, and also the quality that you get, because I think the clutch power is a little less than the other Pantasy sets I've reviewed. The other Pantasy sets I think were great in terms of clutch power. I think they source them from the same place, but for some reason these don't seem to clutch as well. And maybe it's my fingers, I don't know. But, you know, I think it's a cute little set. It makes it a cute display set that comes with a doily, or at least that's what we call it in our house. So you can use the code Drmcbrick to get 15% off at the links below in the Pantasy Amazon store. And again, I do not receive any money from the links. I just decided I want to be totally honest with my reviews, so I don't receive any money. Although they did send me this. Thank you very much for sending me this. Again, I don't think I'd pay $100 for it, but I'd pay maybe $59.99 for it. It's a fun set. It's cool. There's a little clutch problem with the mechanism and the way the mechanism works. It needs to be tightened up a little bit, and maybe it's not so much clutch, but it actually could be the mechanism could be reinforced more so that it's guaranteed to pop up when you turn that button and stuff like that. I like the fact you can put a cell phone in it. I won't show you that feature because I'm taping with my cell phone right now. Taping, that's an old expression. I'm making this video with my cell phone, so I can't really show you it with my cell phone there. There, let me put my cell phone. It's not gonna work. Anyway, y'all know what I'm saying. All right, so with that said, you know what? If you're into this sort of thing, if you're particularly if this hits home with you in terms of nostalgia and things like that, then go out, purchase this set. If you see it on sale, pick it up. There's a lot of great parts in here, and it would make a nice part pack for probably, like I said, about $49, $59, depending. But it's a cute set. It has some functionality with the cell phone feature there. to watch movies on and stuff like that. It would definitely be one of those things that people would see sitting on your shelf and go, hey, what is that? And then you could show them and stuff like that. So with that said, like this video, share this video if you're so inclined, and please check out all my videos on the Drmcbrick channel, all my mocks, my city Figsdale update, and all of the things going on the Drmcbrick channel. With that said, this is Drmcbrick signing out.